wholesale price for 3 bottles is $130.
No. What's the retail price?
$155. So a membership of $29.95 is almost paid for on your first purchase.
So, and then they don't sell singles. They just sell
Yes,
couples.
did you sell singles?
They sell singles, $55 for a retail price of a single bottle.
And you also have a glass bottle.
There is a
little
glass
different
bottle.
size.
A little bit larger.
Oh.
It's 40 milliliters as opposed to 45 milliliters. These bottles are 15 milliliters each.
Oh, so one glass bottle is equal to about 3 of these.
Almost.
Yes, that's right.
And it's probably the price of 3 of these. Probably a little less because one bottle.
I don't know what the price is.
I
on the
can't
glass
remember
bottle.
Oh, okay.
what it is. Yeah, I generally don't
And it comes
use
with
the
a
glass
dropper.
bottles. You know, the nice thing about these plastic bottles is they're so portable.
Yeah, sure.
You can easily measure the drops that you want.
Right.
I drop them into my eyes.
Do you have any articles from the research that they were just throwing up there?
Yes, would you like me to email you something?
That'd be good. Yeah.
Okay, I tend to go paperless when possible.
Okay.
Once again, I am Rosemary Levesque with Rosemary's Solutions for Sustainable Wellness and Wayora. You can call me, 503-747-3307. That's the best way to reach me, just give me a call.
Thank you.
Thanks, Karen, I appreciate you
Just
doing
leave
it.
my card for you.
That's
Right now they're experiencing as many as 200 different chemicals and toxins in the baby's
Yeah.
cord blood.
Right. And it used to be years ago, I remember when I was teaching biology way back when, that they used to say, oh no, it doesn't cross the placenta.
Yeah, it does.
Of course it does. Yes, but that's what they were saying years ago, and now we just know differently. And you look at the high rate of premature births. Are you seeing any of that, Lisa, in your work?
I haven't seen any in mine, but I have gone to Women's Health
Mm-hmm.
Network
Mm-hmm.
puts on a quarterly educational workshop, and one of the topics was prematurity, and they did some studies. They thought it was racial because there's a high incidence in African American and Hispanic, and they thought racial. When they got to looking, they discovered that it was racial, but not the way they thought. That it was.
It isn't genetically racial. It's
Well, and it's not that the black woman isn't getting this level of care that the white woman is getting. That was their kind of their initial thinking. It was more about stress and how everyday stress is different between a white woman and a black woman. A black woman thinks on a daily basis of her color and how that is going to come up in every interaction that she has. And she may, be at the line at Subway getting a sandwich, and a slight may affect her more, and because of that constant stress, constant stress does to your body. That's
Well, stress
being fed
manifests.
to the baby.
Mhm.
And so that women that were highly educated, Harvard educated, very wealthy African American women were still having these prematurity issues.
Wow.
And so
Interesting. So
it
they're
was
calling
interesting
it
that it was racial, but it
stress.
was because of the years of being slighted and
Your self-esteem.
the self-esteem. Yeah, just this.
So really it's a mindset that's the difference.
Well, I think that's a piece of the puzzle, because obviously stress manifests differently in different people, and there are different causes of stress, not necessarily just the slight, but what's the occupation, what's the diet? Are they, you said standing in line to get a Subway sandwich, or
Well, yes, one of the women that they
sure,
showed in this workshop, Harvard, wealthy jogs, walks, eats right, she did everything right. And she still kept having premature babies.
See, now this is where I'm coming from, because I think there's a bigger part to the picture that they haven't necessarily looked at. And I heard this several years ago from a man in Canada who does thermographic imaging. He deals a lot with toxicity issues as well in the environment. He can thermographically take pictures of polluted areas. It shows up heat-wise, it shows up differently. And the comment he made is, these babies are swimming in toxic soup. They can't wait to get out. And that's one of the reasons why he thinks that there are so many premature births that, we want these babies to stay in as long as possible, right? But what if the environment isn't conducive to that? It's not just the stress of the mom, but the environmental toxicity within the body. So that's one of the things that we'll address tonight.
Yeah, and a lot of these, Rick Dutch talks about the fact that high schools, women are maturing earlier, and because a lot of these toxins are estrogen mimicking.
That's right. Plastics.
Early male menopause.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. The arsenic that shows up in pesticides mimics hormones. The plastics that are in the plastic water bottles and plastic food containers, plastic wrap, plastic, you name it, mimics hormones.
The one I read about the other day that I didn't realize, but makes sense. Canned tomatoes.
Oh, biphenyl.
Yeah, the inside of the can.
That's right. That's right. And none of these products were okayed for human consumption, right? It's not something that's added to
the
food.
No, it's added
right?
to the canning process.
It's added to the canning process. Well, here it is as the lining in the can, or the package for the food, and it's not okayed for human consumption, but we're eating
And
it.
tomatoes are really acidic, so I imagine they're really
Yeah.
Breaking
eating
it
into
down
that,
and yeah.
That's
breaking it
right.
down pretty easy. I had tomatoes. My daughter stored tomatoes in a Rubbermaid plastic container, and it etched that container.
Yes, it does.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, it
You have
does.
spaghetti sauce and it.
Yeah.
That's right. It does. And so people are taking these plastic containers with their food in it and zapping it in the microwave. Now what's it doing? Okay, never mind what the microwave itself does to the food, but it's enhancing the content of the plastic in the food that you're eating.
Because it breaks down the molecular structure.
Yes,
Yeah.
it does.
Yeah.
Yes, it
Leaches
does.
into the product, leaches into the
That's
food product.
right. So how many things do we purchase for consumption that, you look in your pantry, in your refrigerator, you walk through the aisles of the grocery store, how much of that plastic comes in direct contact with our food?
So one of the things that I notice is that Wayora is in plastic containers.
Right. And this is a pharmaceutical grade plastic, and that just means that it has a resistance to breaking down. So there are different kinds of plastics. You can look on the underside of any plastic container and get a number. And of course you want something that's BPA free. These are BPA free plastic.
Thank you.
However, Wayora does make a bottle that is bottled for people who just don't want to have any contact with plastic. That's okay. We have that too.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
good to know. Thank
Good
you.
question.
Well, for one thing, not just so that's would take the plastic residue.
Even
Out of
though,
the-
that's true, even though it's not a priority for zeolite to remove plastics from the body, there's a priority of removing heavy metals first. So mercury, cadmium, lead, arsenic, aluminum, all the big bad boys.